Then some proposals that we have submitted to HICS, we'll go through that. So that is the HICS conference 2019 one that happens in Hawaii. There are a few other topics to cover around restarting the speaker series. Yasi will take us through that. There are already a bunch of speaker series that happen in specific things and such, and this is a new one that's being proposed at a higher level that cuts across all of the things as well. Then a few other updates that Haluk has that he would like to share with us all. Then what are some of the publications that ISSIP members have published and the knowledge that's getting co-created? Haluk will talk about that. Then Heather, who's the ISSIP VP, she will talk about some of the themes and the chapters and some of the activities that are going on around there. And then we'll also go over the voluntary activities and the recognition of volunteers, several of whom we've been able to rope in, and several of whom are continuing members who are actively continuing to contribute to ISSIP activities. So thanks to all of them. Then a few other things around operations and opening it up for discussion. So that's the agenda for the day. So we'll go to the next slide. Yes, thank you, Rafi. So here is a quick set of highlights of what the set of activities that we kicked off in the first quarter of 2018. As we just discussed in the agenda items, the Service Innovation Award for Excellence in Service Innovation area has been awarded to two, and Ralph will take us through that. So that is an accomplishment. It was a bit of work that started last year, but the announcement came this year, so we'll highlight that as the work that's completed in first quarter. The ISSIP Innovation Research Programs, we started 2 projects already in this, and the third one is coming up, and I'll take you through what those projects are in just a bit. The first one, the first project of those 2, which is about cataloging a bunch AI data sets, that we will have that going live shortly on ISSIP's website, and the other project which allows for people to benchmark and test out various AI services from various vendors as well as academics and such. That is work in progress, and the first version of it is coming up, and we'll talk about that. Again, as we discussed in the agenda, the letter of intent was submitted to this new NSF program on future of work. Yasi led that effort, pulling the letter of intent together with Ralph and others, so that we'll go through some of the details of that, but that also has been submitted in first quarter. And we began work in thinking about conducting these discovery summits and workshops. We usually have it several times in a year under the auspices of ISSIP and with industry support and exhibitions and distinguished speakers attending. Most of the time it tends to in the past has happened in Silicon Valley, and we're trying to see if we can expand this to New York area and a few others this year, and some work is underway, so that is also work in progress. We'd like to report on, and there are details coming up on that later as well. And I think tying some loose ends on 2017 financials has been accomplished as well. So those are the highlights for first quarter. So Ralph will take us to his Innovation Award recipient, right? Is that right, Yasi? Yes. Great. Is Ralph on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. This is a program that we just initiated last year, and the deadline for submissions was the end of the year. We're happy to announce 2 winners. And I'm also happy to announce that these winners come from both industry and academia. IBM submitted a very interesting proposal about the smart analytical tool that they're using in their contracts management, all the way from evaluating the potential profitability and suitability of a contract to managing a consulting contract with a service level agreement. And I happen to know they've been working on this kind of problem for many years, and they have brought to bear some really advanced solutioning techniques, including Watson and artificial universities, St. Gallen and Castle, a joint program, educational in nature, but directed at leading students in innovation, service innovation projects, and in connection with industry partners. So once again, we see the overlap of academia and industry, which is fundamental to ISSIP's mission. So we were very excited about this submission as well. These two submissions will be viewable on the ISSIP website, and we hope that this year we'll get more submissions after people see what these two entries have done and get a better idea of what's involved in applying for a Service Innovation Award. So the award continues. There will be an award next year, and we are asking for submissions, which can be sent in at any time during the year. And if you have any questions about the submission content and what's expected on our website, we have the call for submissions and the instructions thereof. And, of course, if you still have any questions, feel free to contact any of us on the board or on the executive committee. We'll be happy to help you. So that's it for 2018, Yasi.
Okay, thanks, Ralph. And I'll add that Ralph has done a fabulous job of making sure that the process for these awards and the review of these awards, and anytime there is a submission from an industry member of ISSIP, Ralph makes sure that that industry member is reviewed from the judging process. So in the judging process this year, IBM was not represented for obvious reasons. Ralph, thank you so much for leading this effort. And as Ralph said, please make sure that you send your proposals if you go on the website, on the link that's provided on the slide, you can follow the steps and submit your proposal. Rama, back to you on Innovation Research Program.
Thank you, Yasi. Yeah, so this one is the one that we kicked off at the beginning of the year. The general idea is that we wanted to pick up a few projects that are in the interest areas and hot topics in the area of service science and really drive some work with academics and students and industry together. So I'll talk about this number 2 item specifically. The goal of this effort is to not only facilitate collaboration with institutional members and ISSIP and industries, but in general to really build assets and capabilities that can be leveraged by the community. And what do we mean by assets and capabilities? Let's take, for example, if we say AI as the emerging field, what are some of the main questions and concerns that people who want to get into this area have? They want to understand who are the vendors or the institutions who have built some building block capabilities that they can leverage. And if there are multiple of them, how do we know who does well on what type of data sets when they're tested, and which ones to pick for exploring or for building out industry applications? So that's one question that people typically ask. And the other one is, if I want to build some and explore and learn as a student or as a developer in a company, what data sets are available for me to train AI models? This is a pretty standard and a starting point type of question. So we wanted to, as ISSIP, really address these 2 questions and help out academics and industries and students in this area to get started with this, and as part of it, really bring out these assets, whatever we build as assets, through ISSIP's website and ISSIP's organization, so that we are offering these this as a service to the community. So the first project towards that is led by Keshav Viswanatha, who is a student from UC Berkeley. And he has been collecting and categorizing data sets for building AI services. Could be any type of thing, for various types of things, speech to text, building speech to text types of things, or many kinds of natural language understanding services like building entities or classifying sentiment in a given text or identifying relations. For any of those types of more building block type of AI services, he's been collecting data sets, classifying them, and also more broadly in different industries and domains that Haluk and others, Ralph and others have kind of compiled in the past, and he's integrated them as well. We have a deadline for the end of the month to really release that to the ISSIP website, and we're working on that, and Keshav is working with the design team of ISSIP website to make it happen. The main work of collecting at least an initial set of data sets and creating an engine that displays it and all that is done. And the second one is an AI services catalog. So this is the part where we wanted to catalog various vendors and companies and academics who have APIs available for doing specific kind of AI functions. We wanted to test them and provide the test framework to everybody out there through ISSIP Git repository, so that we show them how to do this, and others can add more test data sets to test things on the same service. Say, test out sentiment service offered by 5 different companies or academics that is out there on a given data set. So that could be a very valuable effort. So we want to make it a more community effort, the second one, where we open up the testing framework through ISSIP Git and make it available, the code and everything, so that community members can come in and add more things, more test cases, or bring in more APIs and such. So that work is being led by Gandhi Shivakumar, who also works at IBM. And we have additional volunteers who are working with Gandhi in making this happen. So that's a quick update on those 2 projects. And I don't know if Amar is on the call, but Amar from Cisco is also starting one project in which Cisco and team are collaborating with Oregon State University folks, and in a specific area that is that falls in the intersection of ISSIP's interest and Cisco's interest, and the expected output from that is some kind of a readout to ISSIP and a paper that gets published with ISSIP as acknowledgement. So these are some of the innovation research programs that we're working on. There are some projects that are continuing from last year and such, but somewhat on the back burner type of mode. So that's a quick update. I think you go next, Yasti, right, on the next slide.
Yes, thank you, Rama. And I'm not really sure if Amar is on the call and wants to say a couple of words about this, because I see a caller number 2. I guess that's not Amar. Okay, thanks. All right, Rama mentioned this. So earlier this year, NSF came out with a new program called Future Work at the Human Technology Frontier, Advancing Cognitive and Physical Capabilities. And ISSIP and ISSIP members and IBM, namely Jim Sporer personally, was influential in really getting this program, encouraging NSF to get this program off the ground. Some of you may remember we also had on this topic a workshop together with NSF last year. So there was a lot of traction building in partnership in ISSIP, in partnering with NSF, and certainly ISSIP was influential in getting this program kicked off at NSF. It is the total funding is the $27 million fund. The project fundings vary between $750,000 to $3 million, depending on the project. They categorize smaller projects between $750,000 to $1.5 million, and larger projects from $1.5 million to $3 million, depending on the duration. Also, it's 3 to 5 years. Principal investigators can be from either research or teaching faculty from a university or a community college or staff from nonprofits. And I've been told that, I don't know if it's the first time, but it is very rare that actually NSF opens these programs to nonprofits. And so this time, ISSIP had the opportunity to actually go after a proposal. So the program calls for a letter of intent, which was due April 16th, and full proposal is due on June 4th, 2018. And so we submitted a letter of intent. Everyone on this call and more contributed to what we should be focusing on. So thanks everyone for that. And so what we proposed was the topic of empowering the workforce with augmented intelligence and doing research around that on the future of work, and then doing a comparison of how this is unraveling in maybe 2 or 3 different service systems. So under consideration is healthcare insurance, education, consulting, government. By the time the full proposal is out, we will have probably decided on that. But that's the direction we're going. So the co-PIs on this proposal are Ralph, and Ralph really was very instrumental in getting this LOI going. Worked together on this. Haluk Demirkan from University of Washington, who is also on the board of ISSIP. Then Professor Dan Nathan Roberts from San Jose State University, Paul O. from University of Las Vegas, Dr. Tommy Temesgen from Mayo Clinic. So these are the primary investigators, and as we build the research team, we will actually reach out to other members of the ISSIP community for contribution. We're very excited about this. As you can see, we have assembled a really strong team, and the next step is really doing the grunt work and getting the proposal in and keeping our fingers crossed. The next item is our participation at HICS 2019. Most of you know that ISSIP has been co-sponsoring Hawaii International Conference in System Sciences for the last 5 years. This is a conference that's very synergistic with the ISSIP. Dr. Haluk Demirkan, Dr. Ralph Babanelli, and Dr. Jim Sporer have been basically chairs of a mini track for many years on smart service systems at HICS, and they basically, through their encouragement, ISSIP started co-sponsoring about 5 years ago, and it's become a really strong, really fruitful partnership, thanks to all of them, Haluk, Ralph, and Jim, but special thanks to Haluk for being an ambassador to HICS and doing a fabulous job as an ambassador to HICS. So this year, we made 2 proposals for a workshop, one on AI biases and the title of it is From Humans to Algorithms to Data, Biases in AI. The chair of that is our president, Rama. And then the second proposal, Future of Work, AI, and Intelligence Augmentation, IA, the role of artificial intelligence and intelligence augmentation in defining the future of work. So both of those have been accepted. For the second one, we are already, we started a little bit of work there to have invited some speakers, and Cisco, IBM, and Google have already committed to speaking at that. And the chair of that workshop is also Brahma, then Heather Yurko, our vice president from Cisco, and myself. So if any of you are interested in participating, speaking at this event, please send a note to me, and I'll get you on the right workshop. And, of course, our mini track led by Hello, Jim and Ralph will be continuing this year. We have all the intention to continue to be a sponsor for HICS 2019. And another thing that actually we have started kicking around with the executive committee of ISSIP is potentially in partnership with HICS doing an inland annual conference. This is something that Halok has been discussing with the HICS organizers, and this is something that the executive committee is considering. So stay tuned for that. Rama mentioned a couple of speaker series that have restarted, actually. One is our Cognitive Computing Institute speaker series. This was a series that was run by Diane Fadell of IBM for 3 years, and under her fantastic leadership, the community grew to over 1,000 members. It was kicked off in 2014, and she ran it for over 3 years. We have a fabulous collection of talks that you can actually, there's a link to where you can find those recorded talks. And the series took a break as Diane was transitioning to a new job, and Jim and Diane were recruiting a new fantastic chair. And I'm really happy to say that Susan Maleka from IBM has volunteered to take the baton from Diane and is now leading the speaker series. So we started this back in February. Already 11 sessions have been recorded, and I wasn't personally able to attend the last call, but Jim told me that more than 100 people attended, a third from IBM, a third from Cisco, and a third others. And something that has happened over the last couple of months is that the community of interest has really opened up to and invited other companies and other institutions to participate and collaborate. So the community is really very interested, as you can imagine, on this speaker series. And if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to speak or just be on the distribution list, please send an email to ISSIP@ISSIP.org. And again, thanks very much to Diane and Susan both for their leadership. The next set of ISSIP speaker series, the previous one happens on Thursday morning, from 7:30 to 8 Pacific time. There's another set of speaker series that some of you know under Service Innovation Speaker Series. Haluk Demirkan and Jim used to chair these series, and most recently, we actually restarted these series for a short while. It went into a hiatus, and now we're restarting the series, and we're calling it the Digital Transformation Research and Practice Perspectives. And thanks to Heather, we now have a great chair of the series, Soren Yohanay, and I'm sure I butchered that last name, is the chair of the series, and she's with Cisco in Krakow, Poland. He does project management for a living, and we are delighted to have him volunteer to chair these series. And he's working now with the various speakers for a target launch. We're hoping to start this in May. But it all depends on the speakers. We already have 7 speakers who have volunteered to give a talk as part of the series, and these talks will happen Wednesdays, either 7:30 to 8 or 8 to 8:30. This part of it really depends on Soren's schedule and the time difference with Krakow. And again, if you're interested in being on the distribution list for that or being a speaker, please send an email at ISSIP@ISSIP.org. So thanks to Soren and thanks to Heather for restarting this, and thanks to Jim and Haluk for running this for the previous 4 years. So, and what they did also, we have a great collection, over 150 recorded series as part of the original ISSIP Service Innovation Speaker Series. Other ISSIP events, I saw a note from Haluk if we could cover this. Jim, if you would like to cover this so that people don't get bored hearing my voice, you want to do that, or you want me to cover this one?
I'll cover it. I just had to get off.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, please.
Sure. So these are all of the different events that have been planned for 2018 and 2019. I'm actually sure we've missed some events, but these are some of the main ones anyway. Citrus Expert Roundtable, the effects of AI on the future of work in relation to aging and disabilities, Berkeley, coming up May 22nd. And for those who don't know, Citrus is one of the organizations I think we do a little bit of sponsorship with around their diversity and women in leadership roles and innovation. Citrus stands for the Center of IT Research and Supported in Service of Society. The second one is CAD 2018, which is June 18th and 20th at the University of Warwick. Location is Venice, Italy. I believe that's Irene Ng's drives that, and she is doing lots of great things around service science, service systems, looking at data privacy, all kinds of great work coming from Irene and her group there. And just to say a little bit more about this Venice, Italy event, I think it may be the 4th year they've done this, and it gathers a lot of historically it's gathered a lot of the people who are foundational in service science. If I'm not mistaken, I think Paul Maglio may be one of the keynotes this year at that conference. And University of Warwick is another organization where ISSIP makes a very small, ISSIP makes a very small sponsorship. 9th International Conference of Applied Human Factors, 5th International Conference of Human Side of Service Engineering. Lou Freund is the driving force behind this, along with Wojtek Celery from Poland. And this has been an outstanding event over the years. It's one of the top conferences that ISSIP sponsors. It's in Orlando this year, June 17th to 20th. I'll be there presenting, running some sessions. It brings a very, very global crowd. The full conference is like 4,000 people, and when we don't fill up sessions, we get overflow from other sessions. So it's been a really good conference, and I like it because it focuses on systems and it focuses on people. So it's very, very complementary to the Hicks conference, which we also sponsor, which is more technology-oriented. This conference is more people and human-oriented. Next up on the list is the future of work in the age of artificial intelligence. This is in collaboration with IBM, and time and place to be determined, but we're looking at July 2018, potentially in Armonk or somewhere on the East Coast for this one. Next up is in partnership with Japan Science and Technology. There's a workshop proposal on super smart society, and what is it and what should it not be. And that's going to be happening next year, actually, in February 14th through 18th in Washington, D.C. I know I've agreed to be there and on a panel, and I think, Yafi, you've agreed to be there on as the moderator. And so that's a good one. The AAAS, for people who don't know, is the American Association for the Advancement of Science. So they have lots of sessions on biology and physics and chemistry and every other type of science. So it's a good one for us to remind people about service science in as well, and I try to whenever I go to these. And then exploring opportunities to jointly sponsor an event with the University of Washington Center for Business Analytics. And that wraps it up for ISSIP events. Yasi, so back to you.
Thank you so much, Jim. And I'll take this one. So on the publication front, the book series in partnership with Business Expert Press and with leadership from Jim and Haluk. They're both co-editors of this book series, working with Business Expert Press. We already have 27 books published and 14 in progress. And one of the books that we've been working on, it took a little bit longer on T-Summit 2016. I'm very happy to say that that's coming out soon. And then on other publication front, we submitted to NSF, to our program manager, Alexandra Medina Borja, for her review, the report that Jim and Professor Stephen Swan and myself did on the workshop that many of you attended last year. So as soon as Alexandra is doing her last review, once we have that and we submit that to NSF, then we'll make that public to everyone in ISSIP, and we have some ideas, and Jim was actually part of this partnership with Business Expert Press, is guiding us to perhaps do a publication on the report that we did outside of NSF publication. The other thing is Haluk did a really nice roundup of the ISSIP, IBM, University of Washington Hicks Research Award. And so you can check out those links, the summary, if you're interested in learning more about what those awards are all about and the research. Please check those links.
And I got to just to mention one other thing. Those Hicks Awards, also each one of the students, one of the co-authors who's a student, they've been presenting on the weekly CSIG series as well. So we've got just excellent recordings of some of these students. And I have to say, I wish I was as organized as some of these students are when I was a student, because their presentations are just top-notch. So these really worthy winners of these Best Paper Awards at Hicks, and we're also getting a recorded talk out of it for the CSIG series. So I'm going to add that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on one of them, Jim, and completely. I was so impressed.
Yeah, the one on blockchain. It was really a market analysis of blockchain that was like incredible.
Yeah, that's the one I was on. It was really impressive. And last but not least, we did a Discovery Summit last year on future work, and Handa Nutis did the first version of this, and we'll soon have the final version available. So stay tuned for that. Heather, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Excellent. So I want to share just a little bit about our special interest groups and the key accomplishments as of Q1 of 2018, as well as some of our goals for the full year. We'll start off with education and research, which again are Haluk and Jim as leads. The biggest area of focus right now, again, are the open data sets and making sure that the student paper awards got done at Hicks at the beginning of this year. Some other key accomplishments for this quarter were the awards that we're giving, as we mentioned, at Hicks, and as well as the co-sponsorship of another conference in 2018. For the rest of the year, we're going to be focusing on collaborating with the Service Innovation Framework SIG in looking at the people-centered innovation methodology curriculum. So that's really combining those two groups and taking the body of work that the Service Innovation Framework SIG has done and really getting that turned into a curriculum and certification. Also making the speaker series available again, which Yasi just mentioned, and then continuing to grow the community through online conferences and publications that they're doing. Moving on to the Service of Innovation Framework, which is chaired by DJ Chrisman. Right now in Q1, really just planning for 2018 goals was wrapped up, and that plan is now published in Smartsheet to be shared out with the other members. The Executive Summit and case study for the ISSIP has been published out on the ISSIP website, and the workshop for 2018 was delivered, and as Yasi had mentioned earlier, planned for 2019. For this year, their key areas of focus are really going to be on the People-Centered Innovation Methodology certification, again, in partnership with the Education SIG, getting the Service Innovation blocks, which is part of that methodology, published, and getting prepared for the 2019 workshop, and then starting to deliver some additional workshops around peace and beyond the pilot that they've done at Cisco. Moving on to service design, the big area of focus here was the museum energy grant proposal, where that was kind of put forth in the first quarter. They developed a service design and empathy white paper and have also come up with some case studies and a service maturity checklist to be shared out with the rest of ISSIP. And for the rest of the year, they're looking to reignite some additional activities for areas of interest to institutional members, and are looking also at synergies between the service design group as well as the service innovation group, and some additional partnerships with museums to test out their service maturity checklist. Finally, the service-defined networking group. This is Casimir, presented at their goal this year is to present at a conference and to promote education and research related to SDN and NFB. Let's go on to the next one. And then for our chapters, our Germany chapter was placed on hold for a minute because our chapter chair has been completing the dissertation. But they are looking to jump in with the speaker series call in the community, and they're finding some folks to speak. And their goal for this year is to revitalize that chapter. For the Italy chapter, they activated a new membership process, and they're working very closely with the Parthenope University of Naples. And then their goals for the year are, again, just to promote ISSIP within the service science community in Italy, to look at a new membership process for planning the ISSIP Summit and workshop that they'd like to hold in Naples, looking for some student tours from Italy into Silicon Valley, and planning a special issue. And then finally, for our Switzerland chapter, their focus for the year is just to continue exploring joint events in Switzerland and the U.S. on smart service systems. And Yasi, I'll turn it back over to you for the final piece of our board meeting today.
Thank you so much, Heather. So I want to thank Sarah Kokar from Cisco, who for the last year was running our newsletter. She did a fabulous job on that, and she also did a white paper, which I'm sorry, I'm missing the link to that, but I'll make sure to add that after the call. But it is on the website under publications. And of course, Sarah is with Cisco and runs the Cisco IT content, basically, and she does a great job on that. And she has to basically pass the baton as she's becoming, her second baby is coming. So we wish her well and wish she and her family the best, and thank her very much. Others, recognizing other volunteers, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm sure I'm missing some people because I know there are a number of other people than I did that were active. But these are some of the things that really that there was a lot of traction around it. Rama mentioned that in addition to Gandhi, who is running leading the AI services cataloging project, there are other volunteers from IBM that Rama has recruited. So many thanks to Lakshmi, Malar, and Rizwan for their contribution to the AI services catalog. Many thanks to Professor Stephen Kwan and Jim for the ISSIP NSF report and also badging work that's happening in ISSIP. And Steve also is very active in standards and constantly looking for synergies between some of the standard bodies and ISSIP. Hannes Nutis is doing a fabulous job of helping me personally on various operational items, and was instrumental in getting the Peace Summit book formatted, since we had a number of different authors for that book, and of course the Discovery Summit white paper and many other things. So many thanks to Handan and Larry Heiner, who keeps every week basically getting out these ISSIP curated news. Everyone can subscribe to those through the ISSIP website. Curation of all the tweets that has been done to hashtag ISSIP. He gets a very nice newsletter together through Paperly. And last but not least, Kelsey, who is getting our Google for Nonprofits off the ground, and soon we'll be able to really see the benefits of that. And he's been contributing to the ISSIP newsletter on a monthly basis. So many thanks to these volunteers, and apologies to those who I haven't mentioned by name here. Real quickly, update on institutional membership. Basically, University of Naples joined as an institutional member, academic institutional member of ISSIP. I'm really excited to say that Amazon is exploring to become a member of ISSIP, and the angle that they're interested in is growing the AWS Academy with the ISSIP academic members, teachers, similar to some of the activities that have been going on in ISSIP and Watson with IBM. Amazon is very interested in exploring that, and expect to hear more about that. Also, we are exploring synergies with the United Healthcare Group, Awesome. As many of you know, Sunil Kirkalani from there is on our board of directors. And also with Accenture, we are exploring those synergies and getting them involved in our various activities. Representation of individual membership. Actually, I see that we only have 2 minutes, so I won't go into too much detail. This growth over the last quarter has been 2%, and we can see that we're seeing more interest from companies, and two major companies, including others that have that are represented by the numbers who have joined us, are Citrix and Unisys. I'll go a little faster. This is a summary of our financials. I won't go into too much detail, but leave it here just in case if anyone has any. Any questions? Hopefully no surprises here. And finally, we completed our 2017 financials, so closed the book for 2017, submitted every